Hi, this is the help video for Access Chapter 3. This is Pause and Practice 3, and I'm going to complete steps 1 through 5 in this video. So in this Pause and Practice, we're going to continue to explore queries, and there's two major things we're going to do in this Pause and Practice. One is to use a calculated field, and the second is to have a parameter query. So this first movie is going to show you about calculated fields. So on the left, I have my instructions from my SimNet sim book. On the right, I have the file as it exists at the end of Pause and Practice 3.2. So I am really on step 4. So what we need to do is analyze what it is that we're doing in this query. So the scenario is that the office manager wants to calculate the potential commission on listed properties. The query should display the agent's name, the listing ID, list price, and potential commission for each property. The agent's name should be formatted as the first initial, a period, a space, and the last name. For example here, J period space Johnstone. So to get this J Johnstone, the initial period space last name, we have to understand that in the agent table, that's not how we have information. We have first name, last name. So we have to come up with some way to just pull that first initial from the first name and then concatenate it with the last name. So concatenate just really means to bring two things together. So we're going to pull out just the first initial from the first name, take that first initial and join it or concatenate it with a period and a space, and take that period space and concatenate it with the last name. And I want you to look right here at the and sign. That is the concatenate symbol. And I like to think of it as a glue. So you're going to take this and glue it to this. You're going to take this and glue it to this so that it comes up. So anywhere that you see that and sign in a calculated field, it's pulling two things together. So let's go ahead and start this. We're going to do create a query in design view, and we need both agent and listing information. So I'm going to go here to table, double click on agent, double click on listing, and close. I'm going to do my normal expand these boxes so we can see all the fields that we're working with, and then I like to bring my grid up. That's just my preference. Okay, so we've got this, and the very first field, guys, is going to be this agent's name, which is the first initial, period, space, last name. So since we're creating this as a calculated field because it doesn't exist, here's how I do it. I do a right click, build, or zoom. We're going to do a build because that's how the instructions are. So we're going to do a build. And the very first thing we're going to do is, you know what? Actually, I want to do a zoom. Let's do a right click zoom. So this brings up a window so that we can type and not have it be in this tiny little box, right? So let's talk about calculated fields. So the first thing is this little symbol here, the colon. The colon is a delimiter. It defines what's left of it and what's right of it. What is left of the colon is the new calculated field's name. So we're creating a field that doesn't exist. And so we're going to call this new field agent's name. The colon signifies to access. Okay, we're done naming it. So then what's on the right of it is what is the calculation that is going to be used to create the agent's name. So if we look at this formula over here, this is what we're going to type in. And the first thing that I want to talk about is, do you see how first name is inside square brackets? So if I did first name square bracket, these square brackets tell Access that this is a field name, not the words first name, right? It's an actual representation of a field in a table. The square brackets do that. So I know I want first name to go first, but I don't want the whole name, right? I want, and this is a function, and it's called left. Functions always have a name and then a parentheses. And then on the end, we're going to have to do a parentheses. But what we're saying is we're going to take the left, starting at the left of the first name field, comma 1, parentheses. We're saying, starting at the left of the field first name, grab 1 character, which is what we want, right? We want the first initial. So this right here is going to give me the first initial. Take first name, starting at the left, grab me 1 character. Then we want to glue that or concatenate it with quote, comma, space bar, quote. So I'm saying take this initial, put, oops, not a comma, a period, and then right there is, I hit my space bar. See, there's an empty space. So I'm gluing that initial to a period space. I'm going to take that period space and I'm going to glue it or concatenate it to the field called last name. So when I see that square bracket and I'm in a calculated field, that means it's a field. I'm sorry, yeah, a calculation. It's a field. I'm going to go ahead and do OK. And I'm just going to, before I go on, I want to make sure that I did this okay. So I'm just going to do a quick run. Yes, it worked. Look, S period space last name. K period space last name. And on and on. So I know I did that right. I'm going to go back to design and finish up with my, so we want listing ID. So I'm right here, listing ID, list price, and that's it. So I'm going to run it before I save it, make sure it's right. Okay, this is good. So we've got, here's the agent, here's their listing, and there's their price. So I can save that. It's going to be potential commission by property. So that calculation there is pretty sweet. I mean, it's pretty complicated. So if you want to go back in, just right click zoom and you can see it. And what I did was I went to font and I made the font bigger so you could see it a little better, particularly when we're doing things like this. All right, this is the end of this movie. We're going to pick up on step number 6 at the next movie. Thank you.